Broadcasting from the Bryant neighborhood on the historic black south side of Minneapolis. Welcome to People Power.
Welcome to People Power, speaking truth to power by bringing you voices from the grassroots. My name is Merjan. I'm your host. This is a special audio-only edition of the People Power podcast. Today I have a special episode. This past summer I interviewed a woman named Suzanne Meads about her acquisition of www.georgefloyd.com just days after Floyd's murder by Officer Derek Chauvin. Meads also used the Twitter account she called George Floyd News. Long story short, Suzanne had absolutely no connection to George Floyd or his family and turned out to be a racist white lady from New Jersey who got lit up by Minneapolis Twitter. Shout out to Minneapolis Twitter for exposing this lady for the grifter she is. So, Suzanne tagged her quote-unquote friend William Good, aka @FilmThePoliceLA, to defend her after she was called out for being racist on Twitter. Instead of defending her, Good, who was black, dug into her background and further exposed her for the grifter that she is. Good told me she was looking for a way to monetize this. She's finding ways to make money off people's bad encounters with the cops. He said, "We watched a cop kneel on George Floyd's neck, took to the streets and demanded justice. This white lady saw George Floyd get murdered by a cop and said, 'Business opportunity.' I think it is absolutely disgusting that a white woman would use the death of a black man to enrich herself." Anyway, I was working on the story and my editor, Dan Fite, reached out to Suzanne and asked her if she would do an interview, in which she agreed. He forwarded me her contact info and I talked to her for almost 45 minutes. You'll hear Suzanne make racist comments and also say she is the least racist person in the world. She contradicts herself constantly, and overall, you're going to hear a person who is generally unwell. I wrote a story about her published on Unicorn Riot's website at www.unicornriot.ninja. After the interview, Suzanne revoked her consent to publish this Q&A, but I've decided to release it because of the egregiousness of her actions in profiting off a dead black man and trying to gaslight everyone. And I believe this interview of Suzanne Meads, in her own words, should be on the public record as evidence for what she's been accused of. By the way, I also talked to George Floyd's aunt, Angela Harrelson, and she told me that she does not know Suzanne Meads. She said, "Me and my family never heard of this woman, and her family had no idea this lady was profiting from her nephew's name and murder." Here's my entire interview with Suzanne Meads. It's completely raw, uncut, and unedited. So content warning for anyone who may be sensitive to the subject matter. You will hear racist comments and the exploitation of George Floyd. All right.
What would you like to know?
Well, let's just jump right into it. I know there's been a lot of online attacks against you. A lot of activists are saying that you have misrepresented or misled the public about your business and GeorgeFloyd.com. So I just wanted to start off getting a response to that.
None of it's true. Not any of it. From that down to any other question you have, just to make that easy. But to provide you some background, GeorgeFloyd.com domain was procured for the exact opposite reason that they're accusing me of. It was so that no one would do what they're accusing me of doing. Basically, profit off the name, destroy the name, the legacy, whitewash the history, make him sound like a drug addict, overdosed, criminal, black man, et cetera, to protect the family, to protect Black Americans, because in the first 18 months, what happened trying to document this and fight against the bad names and attacks and threats and all that were out there for him and the family and everybody, BLM coming, for him. And I apologize. I haven't slept since Friday and I haven't eaten. So if I drain out, I'm not a dodo. I am a little bimbo-y, but my brain has been shorting out. So anyway, the domain was procured for the sole purpose of protecting the name of George Floyd for history, protecting the family against fraud and bad actors, and for protecting some white supremacist, Proud Boy person, by taking that domain and then just posting all these horrible NFTs and just for history, we would never be able to take that down. Period.
Right. Whose idea was that?
I want to say God's, but it just popped into me that I had to do it. Where did I get that idea from? I have a history of this happening to me. I'm literally the only Suzanne Needs in the world. You know how the internet works and Google ranking and all of that. So about 12 now, I guess, or more years ago, when I lived in Nashville, there was a bad story about me somewhere on the internet that wasn't true. So without realizing it, I was posting for jobs and resumes, and for some reason, all of a sudden, I was now in my late 30s at the time, and all of a sudden I'm like, how am I not getting even interviews? Or this is really weird, what's going on? I should be getting more than ever because now I've got so many years under my belt, etc. And then I found out on a date that there was this thing out there because he researched me. and then I went out and saw it, and I was like, oh my God, and realized it was popping up at the top. So I have that history and nightmare story that resulted in me having my house foreclosed on because I couldn't find work because of that stupid false story. And then, so the news is dangerous too. It can kill people, just FYI. So I had that behind me. I have IT background behind me. I have domain real estate investment experience behind me. I had 800 domains registered to me and my LLC at my strategic consulting business at the time. These were just investments that we were making, they're eggs you sit on.
Okay.
And so I knew all of that about the technology side of it, the having a very unique name side of it, the potential damage and danger side of it. I'm a grown woman and I know how the world works, so I had the common sense, empathetic prediction side of it, knowing these people are going to get attacked. This is not going away. This is going global. That's the domain story.
Let me just ask you a couple background questions. Where are you from originally?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay. And how old are you?
I'm 50.
Okay. And so you've been doing this work for quite a while, it sounds like.
It has been. The first police department I attacked was back in 1990, Cherry Hill Police Department, and I went in and screamed and yelled at the top of my head like a young person didn't know what I was doing. And I demanded to speak to the chief and demanded that all officers immediately stop all racist traffic stops, or else I'm going to blow the police station up. So that's kind of how I started off. So if people think I'm harsh now, trust me, I'm a lot calmer than I was back then.
And you didn't get arrested for threatening to blow up the police station, huh?
No, not back in 1991. And they knew that they were wrong because they knew exactly what they were doing and who they were doing it to. And this was a very personal thing.
Okay.
I knew the people.
All right, so back to GeorgeFloyd.com. So you said so God put the idea in your head. And at any point did you talk to George Floyd's family about this?
Immediately.
Okay, who did you talk to?
I emailed Ben Crump Law. I went in through that avenue because this was immediately after the death. I contacted them through voicemails and emails, including sending them an entire color-coded spreadsheet of all the domains that I had purchased for them and reserved to protect them and their family. That included all of the intent of what I wanted to do with each one of the domains, with the disclaimer that at any point in time from now until the end of Earth, they all belong to them, and I would just be managing them from this point forward. And it even included the authorization codes that they could have transferred the domains to themselves at any time.
Okay.
I also let them know I was a white woman. It's the first sentence in the email.
Okay. And so you contacted them after you purchased these domains?
Yeah, because I was pretty sure that while they were burying their dead family member, the last thing they were thinking about was internet theft.
Okay. And how many domain names did you purchase under George Floyd or his family?
My best recollection, from just because I did put them in a spreadsheet, that's the only reason I would even know, is around 110.
Okay. All with George Floyd's name or his family member's name or various?
No. All with anything that I thought was related. One of the other things I do is I protected family names. So one of the ways this has already panned out to prove necessary was Uncle Selwyn Jones contacted me and asked if I was the white lady who had the domain. He asked if I was the person who had the domains for the family, and I said yes, and he said he wanted to start a podcast. Could he have Selwyn Jones? How do we go about transferring it? Does he owe me any money? And I said, you absolutely don't owe me any money. Have your web person contact me. The domain is yours. That's exactly why I'm holding on to it for you.
Okay. And so did you get a response from Ben Crump or from the family?
Yeah. I have a voicemail, I got some emails, and then I left them alone.
What did they say?
The voicemail says, I tried to play it for another reporter if he would not record the voicemail and just listen to it, but it wasn't coming off my computer well. But it just basically says, hi, thank you, we've received your messages. We truly, truly appreciate your heart and everything that you're doing for the family and Ben Crump, and, basically just thanking me 5 or 6 times and saying, here's a special, not special, that sounds stupid, but here's a private email that's not public that you can use that will specifically get to the family and to the Ben Crump people, basically representing the family. And
who was that from? Was that from one of Ben Crump's attorneys or somebody from the family?
The voicemail was from a young lady. I don't remember her name, but she says her name at the beginning of the voicemail. The emails put me directly in touch with one person at Ben Crump that I was using as a contact until I met him in person in Minneapolis when I was there covering the trial, and then he put me in touch with the fact that the foundation is the new contact avenue to go, no longer through Ben Crump law. But
okay, I'm sorry. You said the young lady. Did she work for Ben Crump or was she part of the family?
I'm sorry. Good clarification. She worked for Ben Crump. Apparently, this is such and such from Ben Crump law. So yeah, she worked for Ben Crump law.
Okay, and you said you still have that voicemail?
I do. I have it, and I thought I had it backed up, but I got to fix that because it looks like it's not sounding good when we tried to replay it.
Any chance I could get you to email that to me?
Absolutely not. I will play it for you when I figure out how to play it, but I'm not giving that to anyone.
Okay.
That's the most valuable thing I own in my life right now, to me as a human. That voicemail.
More than
and it has been keeping me going for 2 years because I have been receiving threats and going through hell for 2 years. Don't forget, MAGA was on Twitter when I started this. So, and they thought that I was a black man.
Would you say most of those threats were from right-wing Trump supporters?
In the beginning, yes. But beginning from January till now, those threats have been from every hashtag group, you name it, in the book since they found out I was white. And the way they found that out was since I started speaking up on Spaces. And I was trying to grow the community, make contacts, and make a push. And I didn't have anyone else to do it for me. So I was like, here we go. We're coming out as white now. Let's see what happens. And this is what happened.
Okay. So let me ask you, how many staff do you have, and what is their background? Are they black, white? Is it multiracial?
It's definitely diverse, and that's been the number one priority, but also the number one struggle because this particular case and because of the work we're doing. I have a theory on why it's been hard to grow faster, especially with a more diverse team, and I think it's very traumatizing. I mean, you want me to put young black college students in this seat every single day watching videos of black people getting raped and murdered and killed by cops? No, thank you. So I think that's why they're not showing up. But I have worked extremely hard to build that team. In terms of numbers and names and backgrounds, I'm going to put a zip on that for now.
Well, I don't need names. Just how many staff do you have?
What I'm saying is number was in the statement I just made to you. As far as number and names and backgrounds, etc., I'm zipping that up right now because in the last 24 hours, 3 people just quit on me because they said they're getting attacked by these same people, and they have children, they have careers, they have families, and they don't want none of it. So I've just lost 3 people. One of them was a person of color living in Minneapolis, George Floyd Square. Okay. She said, I can't do it.
So is it safe to say you had at least more than a handful of staff?
Well, we had, at one point, over the course of 2 years, there's been 40 or 50 people that have come and gone.
Okay.
So as of right now, what we were about to go public with was 12 people. I was considering 9 of them, including me, the team, right? And 3 others as partners because they're professional people or they have their own brands and businesses. So I wasn't going to call them like a staff or a team member. I was going to call them a partner. So 12 altogether of human beings that I was engaging with on a daily basis to get this website finally off the ground and get this thing going.
Okay. All right. So
we technically are in startup. We're not even a live launch business yet. We've just been trying to build a community on Twitter and nowhere else.
Got you.
We're not even a launched business yet.
So since you registered the domain and since you've been doing this work, how much money have you raised for George Floyd's News?
0. I mean, we're not a live business. We've never had a publicized website that has asked for money to go directly to us that has received a click, a visitor, or a donation. We tried in the beginning as an independent journalist organization to sell T-shirts. We sold 2 of those. I bought 1. Then during the trial, when we were growing in followers and we were trying to follow the trends of Twitter and stuff, we tried to put a T-shirt together. These were both on Bonfire, I think, that said hero or something over a picture of Dr. Tobin's face, because I feel like he really was a great, immense benefit to the verdict. And I think we sold 1, maybe 2 of those, but I remember 1 definitely went to London because that made me happy. Like, oh my God, people are really paying attention and this is good. They're not forgetting the name of George Floyd. And on those T-shirts, you get like, what, $8, $7? Every dime of it went to the family. Oh. And then, like, if I scraped up anything accidentally here or there, it all got wrapped up after our annual first fiscal year, and it was sent in a nice little package, including the sale of a domain name that I decided to give that money to the family because it was a black issue related domain name, and I thought I don't want any dime from that. It was called blackemergency.com, I think. Uh-huh. And I got like $700 from that. So I took $700 plus like 30 something other dollars from attempts of fundraising and rounded it up to $1,000 of my own money and donated it to Floyd's.
Donated to the family?
To the foundation. This was finally after the foundation was up. I'm sure I gave money to the GoFundMe in the original, but that would have been as me as a person. Okay, so after that fiscal year, can you tell me just how much total you guys brought in? Nothing. Again, like we're still not live. We're still not up and running. With the Twitter people, the only other time I ever asked for money since those major failures of not even getting money was We planned this a country, cross-country ab cab. I called it road trip because I was supposed to be there covering the trial in June, and I spent the last year of my life planning for that very thing because I wasn't prepared for the first trial of Derek Chauvin. So every dime and everything and every ounce and every blood of me has gone into covering that trial and that road trip. But because of things that have been happening, we weren't able to earn any money outside of my own pocket. So I'm basically kind of out of money. So I didn't really have enough money to cover the road trip. So I put it all together, transparency. Here's the intentions. Here's what you'll get in return. Here's the videos, the cities I'm stopping in, what I plan to do there. So if you could donate, here's our Venmo Cash app. The Cash app. I got $2 from a staff member who has since quit because she's been threatened. I got a $5 donation, which I just, obviously it was a month ago, because it just came in again, and then I just realized it's a monthly subscription. So that's my very first monthly subscription, and I know that lady. She's been a loyal follower from day one. She's also the one who bought the first T-shirt when I put it out, so she's really behind us. And then I got some $100 Cash App donation from someone I don't even know, but I wrote to him and said, the trial has been postponed to 2023. If you would like a refund, let me know. So basically, like $107, and it's just sitting there in Venmo, waiting for when I go cover the trial to use for gas money.
Okay, and so I know you were asking people to put down a deposit for the book that you were going to write, a deposit of $8.46.
I wasn't asking anyone to put down a deposit for a book. That website was never publicized, and no one on the planet was ever notified that GeorgeFloyd.com existed. Those people are archiving very old web archives on some techie back-end sites that no one will ever see, and screenshotting versions and drafts and practice and trial runs of me putting up and down websites and practicing and researching and learning things. And that book never got done. It was supposed to be a pre-trial workbook for the public, and it was supposed to raise funds for me to cover the Derek Chauvin trial.
Okay.
And I never, they're showing a snapshot of a book and saying there was a book, that it was sold, and that I made money off of it. That's a lot of skips for anyone, especially in journalism. That website was never even known about, never got any hits. The button never got any hits. There was never even a book. We never got any orders, and that's the end of it. There's no there there.
Okay, so the website never went live, or it went live for a few days?
When people say go live, I'm going to get techie on you here. Not that, I bet you know all this stuff anyway, but let's put this in writing. Go live means you hit the publicize button, and it's available on the web for Google to list and index and start ranking, and to try to start building some credibility, and for the public to be able to go to.
Mm-hmm.
That's what go live means. So yeah. But did the public know that there was a GeorgeFloyd.com? No. Did it come up on page 26 of Google at the time when people searched George Floyd? So I kind of thought it was safe to practice in a published environment, since I don't have a dev testing QA or prod environment over here. I'm working from GoDaddy. The only way I can work and manage a remote team is to say, hey guys, it's 3 a.m. I just published the website. Go look at it and tell me what you think. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And it's for me to test its mobile responsibility, you know what I'm saying? Responsivity. It's the only way for me to test it across my Mac and my Windows. You get where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I hit publish.
When?
But no one went to it.
When did it first get published?
There's probably been over 100 versions of the website, including the times I've been scammed, and it's switched platforms 6 times too. So I have absolutely no idea. It was hell. It put me in the hospital at one point.
Would you say this was the summer he got murdered? Is that when it first went live?
Yeah, when everyone was focused on the murder and the family was focused on all that, I was working in the back end, and no one knew about GeorgeFloyd.com until I went to Minneapolis in March 2021 and passed out 3,000 business cards. That's the first time anyone was ever told about it.
Okay, so I would imagine you got a lot of hits after that.
No, I did not. I got 0 hits. I got 0 volunteers. And I said 3,000 times with every card I passed out, I said, we need help, we need help, we need help. I even had one guy stop me. Side note, it could be on the record. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant. But he stopped me on the street when I was passing these out at a protest and said, what are you doing? How do you own this? Did you ask for permission from the family? And I said, yes, yes, yes. It's all clear and clear. I know I'm white. It's very hard. I'm scared being here doing this, but I'm the only one who can do it. And I'm putting myself out there. And I said, I just don't know that there's a lot of people out there covering this trial from this angle. They're all like right-wing people trying to make him look bad. And I really think someone has to do something about it. And he said, what about Unicorn Riot? And I said, I love Unicorn Riot. I follow them. And so you got people out there fighting for you, by the way.
Right on. And okay, so was the website up for 2 years? Did you just take it down recently?
The recent version of it? I mean, I don't know. I'm literally trying to tell you guys the only way I can work is to work on it, publish something, look at it, test it, get people to look at it at 3, 4 in the morning, and maybe one person will accidentally see it. And I just took risk reward. I realized at one point on GoDaddy way back in the day, I remember I had 17 or something unique visitors in 1 month. I'm like, yeah. And 15 of those were me and my team, gotta be. So at the team then, because the team has also come and gone. And I've been also scammed thousands of dollars, thousands scammed on top of everything I've put into it. So there's no there. And the irony of this is going to come out.
Okay. And all right. So you mentioned that you gave some of your own money to George Floyd's family. How much, or to the foundation, how much in total did you give to their family or the foundation?
I rounded up from whatever 700 and something was to 1,000 to make the act like I was basically donating. So now I stepped aside and separated my association with this business and became Suzanne. I mean, it really is irrelevant, the question you're asking. I'm not sure you're getting it. 100% of every dime has been come from my own pocket, period. My own money. My unemployment from COVID-19 stimulus stuff, all put into George Floyd stuff.
Okay.
All given to the family. So everything I'm doing is for the family.
So you're saying it's about $700?
Of what?
That you gave to the George Floyd Family Foundation?
No, you're not. Thousands and thousands that I've put into this business in terms of the official donation at the end of the fiscal year. That was $1,000 because through the sale of a couple T-shirts and one domain name, we earned $700 and something, and I didn't want to insult them by sending them $700 and something after a year of hard work. So I rounded it up to 1,000 and just took some more money out of my pocket to make that a nice little donation.
Okay, got you.
I gave them 1,000.
Okay, so you gave them 1,000, and did you also give some activists at George Floyd Square $1,000?
I gave $3,000 to activists in George Floyd Square plus. I gave $1,000 to Kim, the medic. I gave $1,000 to Agape before I realized they were on the payroll of the mayor, and I think they refunded it, but I still don't know how to figure out who refunded it because I was giving thousands of dollars away to people. And I gave $1,000 official online to that church on the corner there. Plus, I gave them much cash, handfuls of cash when I was visiting to feed the people on the corner. Plus, I offered Kim, the medic, $15,000 to go buy a ambulance for George Floyd Square.
Where'd the cash come from?
Sir?
You said you gave them handfuls of cash. Where'd the cash come from?
And this is a New Jersey, sir, so pay attention. 100% of all this money came from me and my own pocket. Unemployment, COVID stimulus, and then when that all ran out, getting my butt out there, my disabled butt out there trying to make money again, because I didn't make any money to fund this business for the family. So I have to now go out and work and charge more money for my time than I can pay these people, and split my literal own personal paycheck by paying people to work for George Floyd.
Okay. All right. How come? So it sounds like you're saying that you gave thousands away to a lot of these groups, but why would you give more money to these activists than the family?
Exactly. So we even had a post on that explaining business strategy. We are currently not a live company. We are currently in business startup. We are currently building what's called a healthy business, marketing and growing community. It's also marketing. Nobody knows about us. Hey, where'd you get this from? Some people, I said, don't tell them where you got it from. You know, some people, hey, where'd you get this from? Hey, there's a GeorgeFloyd.com out there. They're trying to grow a business. They're trying to document this time. So you could consider it advertising, marketing, and feeding the poor and hungry at the same time. You can consider it investing in the community that was impacted and devastated the most, and knowing that I'm going to die, knowing that I didn't skip over the fact that these are the people who have been hurt the most, and now these are the people turning on me. Again, hashtag iron. So, yeah, because you invest money in a company, whether it's $25,000 or $1 million, so that you can then turn around and build a company that's going to have a community and followers and customers and credibility, that when you put out a paid community site or a subscription news website, or publish a book, or make a merch store like Unicorn Riot, so that when you put out stuff like that, you can develop a profit that's worth $23 million, and that goes to the family for life. So what good is it to give the family $3,000 when I'm trying to build something that's going to give them millions and millions and millions of dollars over the course of their life, period, forever?
All right. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just got a few questions left. Let's get back to the attacks against you online. So there are folks who have been calling you racist, and they posted a screenshot of you calling people monkeys. How do you respond to that?
Couple ways. I guess we're working on this, but I guess this one will go public before our official apology and all our insight and comments on the issue. Number one, I was not referring to black people, so it's impossible that I was being racist.
How would they know, though? Because I know one of the activists is black.
Well, based on all the screenshots and face shots and the people that I was interacting with at the time, I thought I knew most of them and have been following and interacting with them. So I would say 99.5% of the people attacking me over the over the anti-trans, the whole thing that started it all, coming after me, were all of these purple people and these grimace people and these, we carjack cars and we set the police department on fire people. And I know those people to be white. I also am, like I said, I'm 50 years old, and I'll pay you $1,000 if you can find one person who's ever accused me of or considered me to be racist in every way. In fact, until this last weekend, never in my life have I ever even had to say I'm not racist. And it kind of takes that away from me, and it really pisses me off, because that was a personal trophy, or whatever the right vocabulary word, after 75 days of no sleep. That was a personal thing of mine. Look, no one's ever called me this. They've never called me that. They've never called me that. So I'm the right person for this job, kind of a thing. And now that's all gone. So, no, I wasn't referring to black people. That's horrific, and that's silly to even think that all this work and all this time and everything someone's been doing, that's a pretty dumb grifter and a scammer and a racist, as far as I'm concerned, when you're so racist that it's going to seep out one day, and you're so racist that you're putting all of your time and money into a cause that specifically saves black people's lives and corrects the truth and history and wrong and all of this stuff, because it's so important, and then, oops, you got me. Now I used a tone deaf. That's what I learned I did, because I have learned that was the dumbest thing to do in the middle of all this. But
okay, so you regret using the word monkeys?
Yeah, because I had no idea. Look, when you're not racist, I don't know how, and you're not black, how do you know the words that are used, like every single thing in 2022 that's faux pas? It didn't even cross my mind. Oh, you shouldn't use that because that's for black people. So what?
So hold on, Suzanne, you're 50 years old and you've never heard somebody call black people monkeys, and you did not know that was racist?
I don't hang around with a racist, and I've heard a lot of
But even just watching the TV, you've never, or movies or television, you've never...
I'm sure I've seen it, and I'm sure I've heard it, but it's not, again, it's not, I did not start to type the word monkeys. I typed dumb monkeys, right? And then I had to delete the word dumb because I was just dinged for idiot, and that's an ableist word, and I learned what that means. Are you kidding me? I am 50 years old. The fact that I'm 50 years old is more evidence that I'm not in tune with what is absolutely cancel culture killer of a word. No, I'm not.
I heard you mention a couple minutes ago about an apology. Are you going online? Are your plans to go online to apologize about that?
Our plans are what we're doing right now, which are continuing with our books and documenting all of this, because what's happening right now is part of history of what's going on around the name of George Floyd. So this is not about me. So our plans are to write a 5,000-word article. We are outing Talia Jane. We've been interviewed by 3 other news organizations in Minnesota.
Which ones?
Hey, off the record, are you allowed to ask, and am I allowed to tell you that, or is that like a journalistic no-no?
No.
I don't know.
No, you're allowed to tell me. I don't think it matters.
Oh, okay. I know that WCCO, reformer was something, and then there's the third guy I can't remember because he was a real grassroots guy like me.
Was it Racket?
Racket. Let me see.
So you said WCCO, the Reformer, and one more.
The Reformer, is that what they're called?
Yep, the Reformer.
Hold on. No, it wasn't the Racket. And then I have one on... Well, I don't remember who I talked to, actually. I'm confused. There's a Jay guy. Jay wants to interview me Friday. He seems like a real independent person, but he seems kind and Minneapolis located.
Okay. All right. I know you told my editor that there's a impact report that was published. Are you able to send me a copy of that?
No.
Could you maybe tell me where I can get one?
Has any of these reporters who have called me, including yourself, sir, contacted the family yet? Has anyone just picked up the phone and said, do you know Suzanne Meads, and is she doing this work for you? They would say yes. Okay,
so I called and talked to one of George Floyd's relatives yesterday, and she
talked to the foundation. I'm dealing with the George Floyd Memorial Foundation.
She started the George Floyd Global Memorial Foundation.
That's a totally, completely different thing, and I have no association or affiliation with them.
Okay, well, either way, she's a family member of George Floyd, and she told me...
I know who they are, and I'm fully aware of everything going on, more so than you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, so I talked to her yesterday, and I asked her about you and all of this. She said she doesn't know you. She told me that nobody in the family knows you and has not heard from you. And I showed her the whole Twitter thread of screenshots from your website, and she was pretty appalled by that. How do you respond to that?
She doesn't know me. That's correct. The statement
she said nobody from the family has heard of you. That's
incorrect.
Okay, which family members should I reach out to?
The George Floyd Memorial Foundation.
That's run by his family.
Correct.
Is that in Houston?
But not the person you spoke to. They're 2 separate families. They're 2 separate things.
Is that one based in Houston?
I don't remember where they finally trademarked an LLC.
Okay. And, but speaking of that, did you trademark the GeorgeFloyd.com?
No, you can't trademark a domain name.
Okay.
And you can't trademark a personal name.
And how about, did you register George Floyd LLC?
Yes, I am a legal, registered, law-abiding, tax-paying business.
Okay, so George Floyd LLC would be the George Floyd News Company. Is that correct?
It's more so behind GeorgeFloyd.com is the business structure, because GeorgeFloyd.com is really the only aspect that's going to be potentially earning income and making a profit. So they're the only ones that required the LLC. George Floyd News is more of just a social media Twitter reach out. George Floyd News is not the name of the company.
Okay. All right. I guess one last question I have is, as I was reading some of the screenshots that were directly from your website, there was a lot of language.
Are we skipping over the fact that I'm working for the Floyd Memorial Foundation, and they're the ones that put out the report, and they're the ones that I claim to be associated with, and that no journalist had contacted them?
Well, how can I verify that? Do you have a phone number or email I could call?
You're a journalist. The George Floyd Memorial Foundation. Google it. It pops up at the top. Click on the link. Go from there.
Okay. I'll do that again.
What is going on here? Are you a journalist? You're starting to scare me. Who am I talking to? George Floyd Memorial Foundation that got the GoFundMe and the $27 million settlement. Those family. That family. I'm
just saying, I reached out and I did talk to somebody from the family who does run a foundation yesterday.
I'm not saying that I'm working for the family.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know, as a journalist, I did what I thought I was supposed to do, and now you're telling me it's not that family, it's not that foundation, it's a different one.
I don't work for family, sir. I work for the Floyd Memorial Foundation.
I'm just if it would be very helpful if you had a phone number or email that you could provide.
Just Google. No, I just told you I haven't slept or eaten since Friday. So if you could please just Google George Floyd Memorial Foundation and call them yourselves. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So my last question, Suzanne, is about the website. I know there was a lot of language about police on your website. What are your feelings about police, and do you have a relationship at all with law enforcement here in Minnesota or in New Jersey or anywhere else?
My personal feelings about police don't matter. I'm a journalist writing for a company. We have a 100-page business plan and strategic business model that describes what our content strategy, our guiding principles, and our values and our beliefs on all of these things are, and what's best for the Floyd family and GeorgeFloyd.com. So whatever Suzanne Mead's personal beliefs about the police are completely irrelevant.
Your company, I'm sorry, let me clarify, your company's beliefs.
We are still finalizing that. We have tried every end of the pendulum, starting with the Floyd's beliefs. The Floyd's beliefs are that they are not anti-police, they are pro-change, and that they don't want anyone to cause any violence or hatred towards all police, and that they recognize that there are some good cops, etc. Whatever their official statement was at the time. So I started with that because they're my business client, even though I paid them.
Did they direct you to use that language, or did you take it upon yourself?
Did I, as a journalist, did I take it upon myself to quote them?
Well, I'm saying, as somebody who was working for the foundation, did the foundation...
Oh my God, let's be clear about our pronouns and adjectives and verbs. The work I'm doing is for the foundation. They don't pay me, I don't work for them. So we've got to get our words right here, seriously, or we're going to have a problem. You're the only interviewer so far who keeps flipping my words on me. The only one. So
they did not direct you to use that language.
You're asking me, did somebody direct me to quote them from a television interview and say, hey, we said this on TV for the whole world to see, journalists.
But you're saying you built this website for the Family Foundation. So I'm wondering, did they play any role in the language that's posted on that website?
What website?
GeorgeFloyd.com.
There is no GeorgeFloyd.com for the millionth freaking time. I think we might be done here because I feel like you're not listening to me. There is no website. There still to this very day is no website. There has never to this day in the world of business or websites been one advertisement, promotion, or push to get people to go to GeorgeFloyd.com, or has there been a live launch of a finalized version of any website yet to this day. There is literally no website.
I'm referring to the screenshots that I saw that
people took from old archives of deleted websites that could have been published for 30 seconds at 4 a.m. a year ago.
That was my interview with Suzanne Meads, the New Jersey woman who purchased www.georgefloyd.com just days after his murder by Officer Derek Chauvin. She initially consented to letting me record the interview. However, after the interview was over, she revoked consent because she did not like the questions I asked her and felt she might get published in a bad light. But you heard it for yourself. Meads contradicted herself about how much money she raised off of George Floyd's name, how much of those funds went directly to Floyd's family, and how much went to the community, and the source of the funds raised. Regarding Floyd's family, Mead said she reached out to the family only after she registered the domain name GeorgeFloyd.com. She repeated that she had permission from the Floyd family to create GeorgeFloyd.com for the exact opposite reason that people are accusing her of, so that no one would profit off the name, destroy the name or legacy, whitewash the history, or make him sound like a drug addict and criminal. She said it was to essentially, quote, protect the family and Black Americans, end quote. And then she went on to say a bunch of racist shit. And that's why I thought it was important to publish this, so the public can hear for themselves just how much of a con artist she is. No one forced her to say racist things. No one unfairly attacked this lady. People responded to her bigotry and shut down her ability to profit off of George Floyd's murder. Again, shout out to Minneapolis Twitter and to everyone out there who helped expose this lady for the grifter that she is. That's it for this special episode, but I'll be back with more soon. And as always, all power to the people who organize. Peace.